we decided it was best that she stay home and mend. She has a big trip starting to California next week, and with all that gathering, it's best to let her get a little relaxation, get better, and be ready for the road to go see all those folks in sunny Southern California, where it is a little bit cooler. Thank God. Anyway, we will be out there enjoying ourselves, and we'll try and capture some of that nice weather and bring back with us in a few weeks. And just wanted to let the angels know that you will be in our thoughts and prayers as we're out there, and hope that we're going to enjoy ourselves. I think we will. Anyway, I also wanted to touch base with you and let you know that we have some great events coming up. I know you've heard a lot about the Four Pillars in October. We have Courtney Long, Melanie Shreenan, Deborah Engel, and Melinda. This is all on the website, so be sure and check that out. Many of you saw the video with Darlene, a little bit about the cruise in November. That's going to be a great time out in the Caribbean. So when you have a chance, check us out online. There's Darlene with the cruise, and we're going to have a good time. That is November 26th, and that's a 7-day cruise. And our annual event with James. Do come down and see that November 17 and 18. That is going to be absolutely fantastic. James and Melinda together again on stage at the beautiful Monte Lucia. Absolutely going to be a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and really hope that everybody can join us. Let your friends know. And, you know, I know a lot of folks wanted to call in and have readings and things like that done this evening, and I don't do that. However, I would like to talk about my favorite subject, me, and some of the wonderful things that have happened to me during my life. The things that I've learned, how important it is to never lose sight that you can do difficult things, things that seem absolutely impossible. Years and years ago, I owned an American Indian art gallery in Corpus Christi, Texas. A group of Indians showed up one day. They walked in and they said, we're Lipan Apache. I said, I've never heard of Lipan Apache. They said, I know, history books say we're an extinct people, and we lived in this area. And I looked at them and said, well, you guys really don't look extinct to me. They said, yeah, well, that's what the history books say. I said, well, has anybody ever tried to get you acknowledged, recognized by the state of Texas or the federal government? I said, you don't seem to understand we're an Indian tribe. That can't possibly be done. The legislature in Texas, since its inception as a nation in the 1830s and then as a state in the 1840s, never has acknowledged an Indian tribe. Can't be done. So, well, that's because nobody's really tried. So let's invent the future ourselves. He said, well, what's the plan? I outlined the plan. I said, let's do this, and I'll bet you within 2 years' time we're at the state capitol, and they're going to acknowledge the Lipan Apache as a people. They said, it can't be done. I said, no, let's develop a plan. Let's picture that. Let's make that something that we are going to do together. Let's envision it. Let's manifest it. That's before I had ever heard that word or knew what it meant. It's to manifest. And we went through the process. We set up as an Indian nation would, with a genealogy department, with museum and all the trappings of an office, and those types of activities, reaching out to people and enrolling them in the nation, and eventually got political support. 2 years later, almost to the day, we're sitting in the state legislature. The entire Indian nation, the Lipan Apache, is in the gallery, and the resolution of acknowledgement was read. It was a beautiful day. People couldn't believe it happened. The gallery erupted in cheers, and as soon as that resolution had passed, we were immediately ushered into the Senate chamber. And within the Senate, the exact same thing happened, other than the leadership of the tribe was administrator. There were 5 of us on the floor as the Senate voted to acknowledge the people. The lesson being is it was viewed as an impossible thing. Couldn't be done. It was hundreds of years of non-recognition that turned about because a people had a vision, because a leader had a vision, and it happened. These are things that you can do, and it's absolutely great. And I'd love to hear stories from anybody that has gone through that type of activity, that has felt that has envisioned something that seemed absolutely impossible, and they've done it. I've heard great stories of people overcoming educational odds where they had families, they had no money, they didn't have the time, but they persevered through school and they completed their courses. They got their master's or they got their bachelor's, they got their doctorate, but they did it. Even if it took them years and years to do, they did it. They got it done because they believed in themselves. They believed in that vision. They manifested it. They created that future event by knowing and believing that they could do it. A lot of times we lose sight of that. We have that power, and it's easy to do. Is this combination of soul and suitcase, as it were, as Melinda describes it. They seem to run into each other every now and then. The suitcase can get tired, can get worn. It can feel the difficulties around it. And what happens when the suitcase fails? The soul and the spirit begin to fail as well.
How's it going?
It's up to you to invigorate that soul and help make it a little bit stronger. And you can do it. I believe we have somebody over there on the phone. Anyway, one of the fun things that we have done over the years is assist authors. I think, well, okay. You know, one of the things about OCD, and that's what I have, is I kind of wander off the trail and I pay attention to things in the background. So, anyway, I would like to talk to you about another item I had wanted to do, which was to write a book. Excuse me. Was to write a book. And one of the items within the book was to write about what I felt were the 21 irreverent truths of life. So I brought all these different ideas together in a book format. Into a book format.
Okay.
Into a book format and referred to it as the 21 irreverent truths of life. I guess we had something going on there, McKenna?
She was just calling to find out what happened in the first few minutes because you're people listening.
Oh, okay.
She says hi.
Oh, okay. Great. Okay. Well, what I wrote about in a tongue-in-cheek way were the 21 irreverent truths of life. Chapter 1, I describe the meaning of life. And within the meaning of life, I didn't really know what the meaning of life was. So what I decided to do was subcontract the work out to 3 dogs in the neighborhood. They worked cheap. And what they did is they ran out and did what dogs do during the day. And they reported back to me at the end of the day. And from what they had brought to me, I wrote down and I was able to coalesce the meaning of life. I guess what the driving point here is that so many of us have talked about writing books and doing that type of activity. I sat down and did it. I got it published through Balboa Press. It was a bit of a journey. It was a whole lot of fun, and I really enjoyed the process. Hey, McKenna, can you catch the door? So when we talk about things that we think are important to us, and we don't invest ourselves into those activities, then we're doing ourselves a great disservice. And one of the important things that I think we all bring to the table is our list of experiences and ideas and strengths. And when we bring all those things together, then that is the motivating thing that allows us to move forward in creating ideas.
This is McKenna and Angels. How can I help you?
So, one of the things that I had done with this particular book is I brought it together with each chapter only being 4 pages long, with a wine and cheese and a song.
I can give you a telephone number if you have trouble logging on.
And one of the good things about this particular book is that it allows you to sit and talk with friends as you go through each particular chapter. And we have had some angels write in this evening.
400.
Asking questions of Melinda, and as you know, she's not going to be here to answer those. She'll be here in about 2 weeks' time to be able to take care of those questions for you. And since I kind of have McKinnon here in the background, and I seem to be floundering a little bit, as once again, it's the OCD thing. I can't pay attention to what I'm doing if there's something else going on around. Anybody out there have OCD? I guess a bunch of you do. ADD. OCD, ADD. Yeah, I get all these initials confused.
Yeah, you lose your attention. So you have attention deficit disorder.
And this is what happens.
Actually, I think you have ADHD, which is hyperactivity as well, because you also have to communicate so much. That was Debbie. She says hi, but she just was having trouble getting into the system. So I gave her.
Oh, okay. Okay, great. Well, if anybody else, I would say if you're having trouble getting into the system, call Keith. But if you're watching, then you haven't had problems getting into the system, have you? And I would encourage you to call our number at 602-855-0444. That's 602-855-0444. Also, speaking of dreams and things that move forward for you, would like to talk to you about my grandson playing in the Little League World Series coming up in July. It's a qualifier round, 8-year-old boy, and he is really going to be enjoying himself. Melinda and I are also going to be out there at that time to watch him play ball, and I think it's going to be a pretty good time for him. He's going to be playing left field. He bats .750. And that is just unbelievable numbers for an 8-year-old little boy. And he absolutely loves baseball. And what's kind of a fun thing about the whole deal is that his coach is his dad. And Dad is very, very excited. He hasn't told any of the kids what their rating is as they're going into this World Series. They are listed as number 1 in the nation, which is kind of a fun thing for him. I would like to go back to the book that I wrote. See, it's got a picture of a dog on the front. This is Yona. Yona was a favorite dog I had for many, many years. She was actually one of the best attorneys I've ever met. Oh, true statement. True statement. Took her to court with me one day. And in South Texas, you could do that. I'm sitting at the plaintiff's table. And Yona's under the table. Judge assumes the bench. And Yona hears the judge call docket. And immediately, she runs directly up to the judge. And the judge looks at this dog in his court. And he looks at me. And he looks at the dog. And he leans down, and he scratches her belly, and he says, "Oh my gosh, with pleadings like that, I find for the plaintiff." As Paul Harvey would say, the rest of the story is, it was a day when the defendant wasn't going to be there. So it was just the judge and myself in court. And the judge happened to be a friend of the family, Judge Bobby. So when Yona heard Judge Bobby call docket, she thought it was a social visit. So she wanted to come by and visit with the judge, and it was just kind of a fun moment. So that is how Yona got on the face, or rather the cover of the book. And when I do my best thinking and conversing is when I'm by myself and I can sit with a pad of paper and pen, sitting in front of a camera and a microphone. Actually, it's a little more difficult than I thought it would be. But I would like to tell you that when you sit with pen and paper and you allow the thoughts to begin to flow between you and the paper, it can get quite interesting the way the program runs. When I put this particular book together, you're taking pictures of the beans. 602-875-0444. That's 602-875-0444. So when I put the book together, once again, the whole idea was to keep each chapter short. As the way I looked at things is that everybody has ideas, everybody has experiences, they all have thoughts and things that they want to share. They want to engage in conversation. It's one thing for an author to sit there and expound and tell you all the great and wonderful things that are on their mind and for you to swallow it in full and complete fashion. My technique on this book was to set an idea up in such a way as that it would allow you an opportunity to begin thinking and discussing within a group yourself. I talked a little bit about the meaning of life as the very first chapter. And as I said, it was a tongue-in-cheek effort to kind of give you a fun idea here. Okay, great. Put her on. 1002. Melinda's calling to bail me out. Hello?
Hello?
Oh, there you are. Oh, excuse me, caller, but can you turn your computer down?
Yes, I'll turn my computer down. How you holding up, Billy?
Well, actually, this is a lot tougher than I thought it would be. I've done seminars and speaking, but, sitting before a camera like the way that you do, I have...
Yeah.
It is a different animal. It is absolutely, totally different. And
not too easy, is it?
No, it isn't. Can everybody hear her?
Well, listen, I'm listening to your show, and everybody, I'm so sorry. I just have not been feeling on top of my game here, and I even canceled my afternoon plans because I'm heading out to California, and you have a very special, wonderful guest host next week that you won't want to miss. And we'll make that announcement for you on Tuesday. But I'm watching my dear sweetheart flounder just a little bit because he's a little distracted by the phone. And I know that James called in, and I know that Debbie called in. And I want to say to you, Debbie, that everything's going to be all right. And that whatever you've been through in the last 10 days or so, there's a lot of meaning and serendipitous energy around it, especially in the commitment area of your life. And Jane, I'm always happy to hear from you and see you. It feels to me like maybe there's some changes around your husband's work or something with his travel or some changes there. So I'm going to answer some questions for you, ladies, even if I'm not there. And Billy, I want you to tell everybody how you happened to start writing the book. Like, what was it that drew you to the spirituality to begin with? Because you're really just a down-home Texas guy that worked in the legal business, and all of a sudden you're writing this wonderful, and everybody's got to read it. It's just this wonderful book about how energy works on the planet, and he does a very good job with tongue-in-cheek kind of energy, and it's really such a lovely book. Tell everybody how you got started on it.
Well, actually, I thought I would just sit down and write a book about the things that I thought were important. And then within just a few days' time, the entire book was written. It was as if it just wrote itself. I picked up the pen and paper, and it wrote itself. I wrote the table of contents to begin with. And I looked at the table of contents and I thought, wow, I just need to flesh those ideas out. The table of contents from its original writing never changed. And when I began writing the different chapters, for instance, there's one particular chapter here called where is that particular chapter? It's just going to take a little while. If you think you're special, then you aren't.
That's your favorite chapter, right?
That is one of my favorite chapters, actually, because there's so many times where people believe that there's something special about them, or we tell our children that they're so wonderful and special and wonderful and special, and then people begin to think, well, I am wonderful and special, and I need to be honored as somebody who is absolutely wonderful and special. The fact of the matter is that you don't become special until you're able to completely, totally let go of that whole concept of wanting to be and being special. And that is an ego program. I didn't realize what ego was or had any clue about that when I was writing that particular chapter. And as time goes by and we've had discussions about if you think you're special, then you're not, that was what the essence of it was. And once again, that was something that it wrote itself. Wrote the name of the chapter, and then 4 pages later, it was like, wow, unbelievable. And
that's called inspirational writing, when your higher power kind of takes over and does some inspirational writing for you. And it's something that I suggest that people do often, even if it's not to be published, but to just allow themselves to sit with a pen and let their higher power do some writing about who they are, especially through the understanding of karmic profile and who they are from their child self, or who they are from their adult self, or so you know what, Amadeus, McKenna just texted me and said that Debbie responded to my little reading and said that I was right on the money. Thanks, Deb. You're a sweetheart. I'm sorry I missed you tonight. I hope you guys understand that, when you're doing the kind of work that I do, you can't just, call in sick without a backup plan. So you all know that it takes emotional courage for Bill to get in front of the camera and do the backup plan here and take over for me tonight. And I'll tell you something. Talk about manifestation. I think that we really manifested good partners with each other right now, so I appreciate that. So, you know what? One of the things that you say to me all the time, because you're the one, Bill, that knows more than anybody does, that I'm probably one of the most insecure people. We went, hey, everybody, Bill and my friend Reese just absolutely tortured me over the weekend to get pictures taken for the website. They took over 500 pictures. I just smiled for 2.5 hours. When we went to look at those pictures, I looked at about 4 and said, I can't do this. I mean, that is how neurotically insecure I am. And so, sometimes that's part of the package with helping others, is that you have your own issues, like Bill's OCD and ADD combined there, where he's distracted by the background noise, can't, filter it out. Those are things that we all have. We all have these ego issues and these feelings that get in our way. And, sometimes when people think they're more special than they are, it can come also from an insecure ego and not from a secure place. So it's a very interesting energy. But hey, Bill, I wanted to tell everybody what our plan was, and get some feedback from you guys to write after the summer is over, when we start in the fall. What I'd like to do is make a series of workshop classes that they'll come in like 6 or 8 week sessions, where we will focus on a subject with guests on those subjects for 6 or 8 weeks. Like, for example, I'm doing something with Suicide Survivor again. So, McKenna did a wonderful job helping us understand depression and that kind of thing, and that was wonderful. But it would be great if we had somebody that maybe lost a child that way come talk to us, that we had a professional from Taros, some of those places come and talk to us, and, some different workshop stuff. So if you guys like that idea, write in and we'll come up with some subjects where we're going to do more of a focus week by week, which will mean that I won't do like in that a night of reading, but I will always read. So even if you have a question, you can always ask it. So, anyways, honey, I just wanted to call and tell you thank you for taking over for me tonight.
Okay. Is this payback for torturing you with the pictures over the weekend?
I think payback for a bitch feeling way. That's what I think.
Love you, baby.
Love you too, baby. Bye-bye.
Oh, wow. Yes. Debbie's on.
Okay, Debbie, thanks for transmitting.
You guys are saving me with the calls. Thank you very much. I am the worst dog in the world because if you say squirrel, I am the other direction. Hello, Debbie.
Hi, how are you?
I am doing well.
You're doing well.
Oh, it would be so much easier with a vodka tonic, but I've got you, so that's delightful as well. Thank you.
I'm sure. It's a little different, isn't it, when you're just sitting there all by yourself?
And it's so funny, as I've done a lot of talks and a lot of seminars and that sort of thing, but sitting with a camera is a very different thing. And I'm sorry?
I can only imagine. I don't think I could do it.
Well, I tell you what, the saving grace are folks that call in and visit, and knowing that there are people like you that are out there. Well, how you doing this evening, Debbie?
I'm doing really well. I hit, for some reason, tonight the internet decided to go down just as I was connecting, and I had to reboot the router, and I missed the first 7 minutes, so I called in. I'm like, I'm trying to connect, and then I finally got everything up, and the next thing I know, Melinda's calling to bail you out, but at the same time, she hit the nail right on the head for me. I couldn't be more overjoyed that she mentioned that because I had my doubts the past couple of days about what I've been doing and where I've been going with things.
Well, I know you've been a real trooper, and I know you've been very supportive of your partner. So,
yeah. It's new. It's new. It's exciting. It's old. It feels old at the same time, but it's good. And I know that I guess I'm on the right track.
Yeah, because it sounds like there's a comfort level that's developing, and because when you get that old feeling, there is that comfort. It says, I've sat here before and it was good, and I feel good about it. I'm comfortable right here, and that's a nice feeling.
Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you a question, Debbie, if I may.
Yes.
You're a regular caller, and that's absolutely wonderful. And one of the things that Melinda's talked about is doing more in-depth work with some of her classes. As there are times I've sat here and I've listened to a program, and it's only an hour long or an hour and a half as they were in the old days, and I'm thinking, wow, I would like to have seen something developed a little bit more along these lines, or maybe a little more in depth on this. What are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely, 100%. There's so much out there. I love to learn, and the more I know, the more I crave to know. So I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, she did a class on numerology some time ago, and it just skirted the surface. And I know she works with soul numbers and all these books and all these ways that these tangents come together with numbers and numerology. And the class itself, the introduction that I had to it, was so minimal. And I'm thinking, wow, I just want more of that. I want to know more about this because it's obviously a science that goes back generation after generation after generation after thousands of years. So there's got to be something to it. What's the history behind it? Who developed it? Where does this come from? And how does it come together in different cultures and different civilizations over the years? Those are some of the questions I had. And I would imagine other folks out there would too. What do you say?
Absolutely. I've touched on a lot of different subjects in this spiritual realm, and numerology has always interested me. That class was so good that I just craved more, religions, and that was good. And I dove a little deeper into that on my own, and it touches the surface. But if we did like a 6 to 8 week, and maybe you could have it so people could just sign up just for those classes.
Oh yeah.
So that it's just they're going to take this class or whatever, and I think that would really go over really well.
Yeah, I found the way that Melinda compared and contrasted Buddhism and Hinduism together was absolutely fascinating. And then when we look at Muslim religion, we look at the different aspects and tangents within it. And then we look at some of the different poets. Rumi comes to mind right off the bat. Such beautiful, wonderful poetry. My gosh. There is so much that we're missing by not digging a little bit deeper into some of these things that seem so foreign to so many of us.
Right, exactly. I would love to go into so many topics. There's so many out there, and I know you guys will choose the right one, and we'll get to where we need to be, and we can dig our heels in and have fun with it.
Oh yes, absolutely. And Debbie, one of the things that really kind of is a dynamic that makes us feel better. And in your particular case, this is a message from Melinda for you. She just sent a text in. Is water. There's something, I guess, that's soothing and wonderful about lakes or oceans, rivers, riparian rights, all that wonderful. Are you close to water presently?
It's funny because just this weekend, last Saturday, we went down to the park, and we went to one of his favorite places in the park, and I haven't been to that park since I was a little kid, and there's a little trail, and you go down in the back, and there's where the water's flowing through, and I walked through it in my feet with my sandals on, and I went in with my pants on up to my knees, and then finally I went in the water, and it was cold, but it was sunny and beautiful out, and it was the most I felt in touch with things in so long. It was beautiful. And I'm not too far from Lake Ontario, so there's really no excuse for me not to even go to the lake this year. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah, time to get a sailboat. I'm a sailor.
That's beautiful. I'm not that far from the Erie Canal. That's like right across the street from me, practically, where I live. So we were just down sitting at the canal last night watching the water.
Oh, boy. Well, I guess it's time to get out and play on it and kind of enjoy it and let it sip through your fingers and watch a sunset.
Absolutely.
Oh, boy. Well, Debbie, it's been a delight visiting with you this evening, and thank you for your input, because the things that the angels ask for are important to Melinda and I, and we're trying to get the program here to evolve into something that really reaches and touches people in a way that is important to them. And thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and ideas tonight.
Absolutely. You have a great night. You're doing great, and I'm really interested on the writing of this book, because the first time I ever spoke with Melinda, I should be writing, and I really haven't done much of it.
If I may make a suggestion, just sit down, write a table of contents, and then figure out how all that comes together.
Okay. That's where I'll start.
Okay. Oh, and one more message from Melinda. You're working with Angel Raphael. Sound about right? Sound good?
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Debbie. You take care. And very best to you and yours, okay?
All right. Have a great night.
Okay. Bye. Wow, this is getting a little bit easier. And, I believe we have Jane on the line. Hello, Jane.
Hey, what's cooking?
Oh, wow, me.
You're doing, I know. Well, when I called earlier, you were doing just fine, so I didn't stick around. I just said, well, all right, let me just finish listening. And then I was like, okay. And then it was so cute. Melinda called in, and I'm like, oh, I was just going to call and talk to you. So I was like, well, I'll just hang out in the queue. But I was like, okay, I think I'm lost in the queue here.
Oh.
And then I heard that you could, which I never even thought of, you could email in. And I was like, oh, okay. Melinda made mention of a, stuff going around with myself, and I'm like, oh, right on. Let me just write a little note. So I wrote an email.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
so yeah, just let you know that she was definitely picking up. Mark lost his job actually a month ago now, and he just went back to work and found a job yesterday. So.
Oh, wow.
It's been a little wild month.
Yes, those things happen. I think all of us have been up in the air on the trampoline, and then somebody pulls it out from underneath us, and we do not have a very good landing afterwards. And we have to find a way to pick ourselves up. Anyway, well, Jane, it's been a while since we've talked. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, and I have to say, your book is so cute. I noticed it right away when you pulled it up, and I'm like, I have that book. I've read it. And I just want to let you know it was a while ago, but it was very cute. I enjoyed it very much.
Well,
and a little wine and cheese, even though I don't do dairy or wine, but it was so cute to have the little prompt there if you would like to partake of that. I think it's very unique.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, I'll write a book with tofu and tequila. Will that work for you?
There you go. But that was, and then, so you were talking to Deb about the classes. Yes, I would love the classes because I enjoy all of the classes that were done. I'm practically taking notes, and Melinda basically has the same thoughts that I do of things that of interest to me. So I'm on that wagon.
Oh, well, she has a tremendous body of work of different classes and seminars and this and that and the other thing, and
yep, sounds just like me.
and yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's another perpetual student.
Yeah, and I think you were involved with the numerology class, weren't you, Jane? Or was that the one where we walked down the street and we had the house and the fence and all that sort of thing?
Oh, yeah, that also. And you know what? I don't know if I just happened to miss it or the following week. I'm not sure what happened, but I thought we were going to be kind of completing that or finishing it, something. I don't remember now because it was too long ago.
Well.
Than that, so I don't remember. But yes, I've had numerology, not like Melinda taught it though, which was very awesome.
Yeah, that would be interesting to watch. Like I was telling Deb, get more into the history and the different civilizations and see the different interpretations and understanding of it from a cultural standpoint, as well as the science of it.
Interpretations and religions is absolutely phenomenal part of that.
Yeah, and you've been to quite a few different classes over the years. If there's a particular class or subject that would interest you, what would be a couple of them at the top of your list?
Well, right now I'm doing astrology, and then we have, because this year in August is a huge, if I didn't say huge, eclipse. So that's like my latest venture, still in the astrology realm, but astrology is another thing like numerology. You could probably, be studying for 500 years and not have all of it under your belt. There's so many types of astrology, and but those are the two main ones I'm doing now. Of course, with different types of, not with them, but in conjunction with still doing oracle and tarot cards, new decks that I'm mastering.
Within astrology, is there a particular application of astrology that's interesting to you? The divination within astrology, or perhaps the personalities that are touched by astrology? What particular aspect of astrology really piques your interest?
Right now, because of the eclipse, I am trying to learn more about going
kind of backwards and finding if people were born during either a year that there was an eclipse, a major eclipse, or if their birthday falls, a little before, a little after an actual eclipse, and how that, works with their chart. Because that kind of throws a whole different fun thing into it. So that's one of the ones. And then there's something called draconian astrology.
I'm sorry, what, draconian astrology?
Yeah. And I don't know too much about that, so I can't even really speak to it now. It was just on a seminar that I watched again like a month ago before all of this job thing happened. So whatever I heard just went out of my brain.
I don't know.
But it was interesting enough that I remembered it.
Yeah, anything.
So that will probably be.
Yeah.
Once I finish the eclipse part of the astrology, I will probably delve a little more into that.
Oh, okay.
It's all just so excellent, so interesting, and again, you could just go for days with all of this education and just not be bored 1 minute.
Well, when you're going through the education, do you look for ways that you can take that and apply it to what you are doing at the moment, or has it just been kind of a pursuit of education for the sake of education?
Well, I do try. I apologize right now. I'm closing up the house right now. I'm going to give you a 2-second chair and they'll be quiet. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
So what I do is, with everything that I learn, and I do try learning with the thought of one day I'm going to be combining, incorporating, inventing maybe something new with all of that. Right now, I guess I'm probably just still kind of in the learning phases of it. But I have quite a bit of, whether it's, numerology, crystals, astrology, whatever it is, I have a lot of different things that kind of match each other. So,
Jane, if I may make a suggestion, is
focus more?
well, yeah, in a word, but
it's like, oh, that's shiny. Let me go over in that direction. Oh, here's another little shiny bauble. I'll try this one.
Oh, well, you're talking to somebody who, the phone goes off in the background, and all of a sudden, I'm looking at the phone instead of the camera. Oh, my God, there's somebody on the phone over there. Oh, no, you have a camera in front of you. You're supposed to be talking to people out there in computer land, but no, I'm watching the phone. Oh, gosh, no wonder I got ran over in my last life chasing squirrels.
Yep, I get it. And we were very similar on our, our fence, our house, all of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's that same sort of, I'm not going to really say ADD because I just think it's not, my son called it lack of focus. I just think, well, I'm just very interested.
Well, and that's exactly right, because you do have a lot of different areas of interest. And this is what I'm going to suggest to you, Jane, is have you written recently? Have you done any writing?
That doesn't act, well, I mean, besides my journaling, that kind of writing, and I really don't really think that I journal.
No. I'm going somewhere with this for you, just for you, something special just for you. Are you ready?
I don't really, writing has never been like something I'm interested in exactly. But
Well,
go ahead.
yeah, it's, like I said, the way that I wrote this book was I wrote the table of contents first, because I have so many different interests in so many different areas, and it was just, these 21 things just kind of pop right up. Some of them, as you know, since you've read the book, are quite different from one another, and they run through different disciplines and different thoughts and different processes that are absolutely unrelated from one to the other. However, because my mind is all over the place, squirrel, is that it allowed me to be able to take the things. Oh wow! If there's the ADD. It allowed me to be able to take the things that I've learned about a particular subject and focus them and put them into a short format where I was pretty comfortable with it. I was able to take it and look at it and play with it and, form a few paragraphs and sentences. And then I was able to kind of put the idea in a format where it actually stuck between my ears, where I could make sense of it. It wasn't so amorphous. It wasn't so ethereal. It was actually, it has some substance to it. And that's all I'm suggesting. That's just a thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I seriously, I have trouble even journaling.
Oh, no, good Lord. I've been asked to journal by somebody, and I love writing, but for some reason journaling just isn't me. Give me a task or something to write about specific, and I have a whole lot of fun with it. But just journaling on my own, I have a difficult time with that. And I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because I haven't applied myself properly. Or maybe it's just that my disciplines wander in areas that are just not disciplined. So I guess that may be us, Jane.
Yes, I was trying to think. Like even in school, I was never like, oh, let's do this great creative writing statement. I'm like, I don't think so. but
oh boy.
When in the mood, which isn't very often, and for classes I need to. For instance, like my card classes, they always say, write down what it is and what you're feeling and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, oh gosh. And sometimes I don't even pull cards because it's like, oh, I've got to write about it, what I feel about it. I just like want to pull a card, get the information, and then go. So it could be like a time thing. Like I don't sit and I'm on to the next thing, maybe.
We call that butterfly madness. I just made that up, and it sounds absolutely brilliant, doesn't it? Butterfly madness. Wow, let's just go out there and just taste everything and just absolutely enjoy it for the moment and then move on to the next thing. Is that who we are, Jane?
Well, no, because I don't. I mean, I am able to, because that sounds like I don't even like sit still. And I can definitely sit still. It's just that, life here, one thing happens to the other, and, I probably have more than the usual amount of four-legged, two-legged.
That's right. You do have quite a few animals that you care for, don't you? How many animals is it that you have?
Never sleep. What's that?
How many animals do you have, Jane?
I have a lot, but they're not all. They're sanctuary. They're fosters. So it's not all under one roof, but there's just a lot there. I got a call last night or night before last. There's some kittens that have been abandoned, and so there's like a lot going on when we need to network and make sure that they're safe, make sure somebody's looking after them, get them trapped, whatever it needs. So it doesn't really lend itself to let's just hang out and take a walk on the beach.
No, and that's important. Taking care of those who need that kind of help. No, I understand. Done a lot of that over the years as well. I guess many of us out here have done a lot of work with strays and have assisted. And that's a good thing. Makes you feel better, and it is a better thing for the world. That's nice work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh boy.
But I just wanted to stop in, let you know you're doing a wonderful, wonderful job, and those are big shoes to fill. You're doing excellent.
Oh yeah, well, and considering that they're heels, I'm tripping over myself quite a bit here too. So. Oh boy, Jane. Well, I do appreciate the call, and thank you very much. And you take care on the farm there, okay?
Thank you very much. You have a good one, and I'll be listening in here.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Jane. We'll see you.
Bye-bye. Yep. Bye.
Yeah, And I know that there are a couple of angels that have sent emails in asking Melinda for some direction, advice, or reading. Melinda is going to respond to those emails. I've printed those out and will be giving those to her later this evening so that you will be getting a response on that. So I guess we've kind of had a little bit of an interesting evening here about writing. I guess that was kind of the fun thing within it, and also learning and also expanding the Angel program. It was good to hear from folks that they want to expand it, get a little more in depth into some of the teachings and understandings. And I think that once we begin opening this to a more in-depth program, that it'll be something that is you can go back and take a look at over the years, so that if you have friends that are interested in numerology or codependence, or the list goes on, there will be something that is in depth and not just so much of a 60-minute type of a program that addresses a particular issue or item. And also with some of the experts and other speakers that are going to be involved, it'll be a good thing, because we'll be getting more diverse points and different aspects of education involved with this too. And let's see, I'm looking across the table at McKinnon, because he's sitting there grinning at me. He's running the phone bank this evening, as he does such a good job at.
8 minutes.
8 minutes. Yes, I can get through and enjoy that, because this has actually been quite a bit of a learning experience for me as well. And I want to go back to the very beginning of the program where I talked about, understanding that you need to create goals and set them for yourself. One of my biggest difficulties in life, here I am talking about myself, why? It's my favorite subject, is being able to pay attention and focus on something without letting other things distract me away from it. It's been something I've worked on my entire life, and if there's anything that can actually make you sit and have to focus and tune out the other things around you, is to put a camera in front of you and speak directly into a camera, and understand that there are other folks on the other side of it. So I guess tonight has actually been therapy for me. I'm going to need a drink. But no, this has been a good thing. It's also given me a chance to talk a little bit about my book. I have kind of set it aside, haven't really paid very much attention to it over the last few years. But once again, that was something that caused me to sit down, to focus, pay attention, and then pull those ideas that have been floating around in the ether, the things that I've read about, the things that I've felt, and actually putting them into a substantive format, moving them around, so that I actually was able to get a handle on those ideas and thoughts and speak a little more directly and substantively to them. One of the things that I have done with the book years ago were seminars on the different chapters. And this is one of the things that I've suggested to people that have bought the book. Bring your friends together, read a chapter. They're 4 pages long. And as I said before, they're really, really simple, fun chapters. There is chapter 17, another favorite of mine. The entire Course in Miracles, I was able to condense into 4 pages. That's basically what the Course in Miracles is about, is forgiveness. And I put that into a program called A Slapped Cheek is a Past Event. And from that, instead of using that let me just finish this particular thought up, and then I will address that text, is that the Course in Miracles, boiling it down to something where you can have a small group of people sit and discuss the ideas behind forgiveness with a tongue-in-cheek message makes it a little more fun. A little wine and cheese is also kind of a fun thing that you throw into it as well. And, I get asked this question on more than one occasion. What's it like to live with a psychic? I tease people and I tell them that, I get to find out what I'm thinking before I actually think it. The truth is, living with a psychic is no different than living with anybody else. They want to give love. They want to feel love. They enjoy laughter. They enjoy the dramas on TV, playing with the dogs, going for a walk, snuggling on a cold morning, and even in a hot afternoon, playing in the pool, splashing, barbecues, love of family, being with the grandkids, celebrating the wonderful accomplishments of children, their children, enjoying the beauty and wonder that's around them, talking about a good book. Living with a psychic is no different than living with anybody else. There are things that are going to occur. There's little bits and pieces. Some of them are rather funny. And on occasion, I am told, don't do that. That's not a good idea. And I do it anyway. And then I find out, well, really wasn't a good idea, was it? I told you. You should listen. I'm a psychic. So that makes it a little bit of a fun thing. But living with a psychic, once again, really is no different, because they want to be loved, they want to give love, and they want to be part of the family. And I love my psychic. Oh, do we have somebody else there, McKinnon?
Yeah, he's good.
So living with a psychic, fun, exciting. There are times that divinations occur. Then on occasion, there are those times where deceased folks walk through the house, or you have knocks or bumps and things that are just not quite explainable. But all in all, it is quite an adventure. I enjoy it. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I believe we are...
2 minutes.
Okay, well that's going to kind of allow me to wrap things up here, isn't it? I can wrap things up. Oh, boy. So anyway, for those of you who've called in, for those of you who stayed through the whole program, I really enjoyed being able to share my rambling thoughts with you. And this self-imposed therapy on ADD, squirrel, and it's been a good time. Do watch for your angelgram. We are going to make a wonderful announcement about who our guest host is going to be next week. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. I guarantee that the phone lines are going to light up. People are going to have a whole lot of fun. And once again, please do visit our new and improved website. Keith and Jackie have done a wonderful job with Facebook, wonderful job on the website, a lot more information, and I do encourage you to visit the archives, because on occasion you might remember something about an old program, or maybe there was a reading that was done for you. You can go back to the archives, you can pull that up and relive that. And as we move into the fall, when these programs turn into longer, more in-depth programs, you're going to find the archives are going to be a wonderful, wonderful treasure vault for you. So in closing, I'd like to say thank you very much. This has been a whole lot of fun. I've enjoyed getting to talk with all the people that have called in. I've enjoyed talking about my book. I've enjoyed talking about Yona. She was such a good dog, and like I said, best attorney I've ever known. Won every case that she ever appeared on. So I'd like to say good night, have a good evening, and I guess you can hit the unplug button, can't you, McKinnon? Good night.